Hey YouTube, just want to make a quick video talking about the new Skellige leader Arnjolf, who has Order, Spawn and Play himself, who is a 9 power unit with Doomed, who spawns 3 Deafening Sirens with 2 power on the opposite row and damages them by 1. I believe he's 16 provisions. But anyway, on the surface, he is a 6-point play, but it has the upside of being a one-shot that enables Bloodthirst 3 immediately. As in, your opponent has no window to interact between you playing your leader and you playing your Bloodthirst card. Unlike Crach, where your opponents can boost out of the damage to disable Bloodthirst, with Arnjolf, there's no option for that. You just play your leader, and then you play your Svenrige, and you get all your points. So if you compare this, if you want to compare one-shot to one-shot, if you compare this to Harald, Harald plus Dagger is you put 10 provisions in your deck from the Dagger, and you get a 20-point finisher. If you're just looking at the one card that you get by playing Svenrige, Arnjolf plus Svenrige is 17 points for 8 provisions, which is pretty comparable. And there's also a little bit of extra upside that you get with remaining Bloodthirst cards. So if you don't use it as a finisher, you can then like lacerate the tokens away. You can then play another card that benefits from damaged units, like Madman Lugos or Champion's Charge. I think to really talk about this card, you gotta look at all of the available Bloodthirst synergy things. So I'm gonna bring up Gwent over here. And let's look at least what I could find as cards that looked obvious to have some kind of synergy with it. So there's obviously Regis. Same idea as playing Spies and Nilfgaard. You get to give them a 1, and then you can immediately Regis that same turn if you want. This probably won't be done that way. It'll be, if you're playing Regis, it's probably going to be a couple turns after the Arnjolf, because it's not likely they're going to be able to kill all of the 1s or boost all of the 1s. They're going to have some 1s left over, and you can capitalize on the Bloodthirst first. But it is worth mentioning that you can just use this to set up a quick Regis. Wild Boar of the Sea, damage all damaged enemies by 2. So you don't have Crach to keep up sustain, but if you're trying to play a lot of other Bloodthirst cards, maybe with like Mastercrafted Spears in your deck, it's possible you could still fit in Wild Boar. Colossal Ifrit, kind of just putting there because technically it looks kind of cool with the new card. Damaging all units on the opposite row by 1 is the perfect number to deal with Arnjolf tokens. And you can have this in play for a little bit, and then you can play your leader, and then when this comes off cooldown, you can use it again. So this works in combination with like a Svenrige finisher, where you have a Colossal Ifrit in play. If it doesn't die, then on your last turn, you can play your leader, play Svenrige, kill the tokens all in one turn. The same idea with something like maybe Akvist. Madman Lugos. Deploy damage enemy by twice the number of damaged enemies. This isn't something that we really see right now. Crach is really good at getting Bloodthirst like 1 and 2, but once you start having to get to like 3, stuff like Svenrige and Madman Lugos become a lot more sketchy. This isn't a card that gets enabled very quickly most of the time, which is another issue. A lot of the time you want to have access to removal from the first turn of the round, and Madman Lugos takes at least 3 or 4 turns to get going in a Crach deck. But when you're playing Arnjolf, you can always just play your leader in round 3, play your Lugos, and you're getting 6 damage without doing anything else. So you're getting a 10 for 9, while also being set up for all of your other Bloodthirst effects. Svenrige, obviously, so you're probably going to play this with every Arnjolf deck. I don't see why you wouldn't. This seems like the biggest reason to play the card. Donar, it's played in Crach. You could probably play it here too. You get 9 for 8. Pretty reasonable. Champion's Charge, basically is just 7 provisions destroy a unit, as long as you get to play your leader in that same round. Now, it is worth mentioning that all these Bloodthirst 3 cards do sort of compete, because if you don't have enough ways to enable Bloodthirst, you do have to worry about your opponent boosting one of the units out and you not being able to re-enable Bloodthirst 3. This card's probably just good enough that you're gonna want to play it. It's sort of like a Geralt. If you subtract the 3 points that Geralt has, Champion's Charge is sort of just like a less situational Geralt. Instead of getting 3 points in addition to killing the unit, you're just getting 3 less provisions on the cost of the card. Giant Boar. So naturally, your leader would make this a 6 for 7, and then if you have other ways of setting it up with like spears, this could be better. Not super likely that this will be seeing play, but maybe. Lacerate, stand for Tremors, same idea. You're giving them units, you want to kill those units, you want to get full value out of your thing. Lacerate kills them for free, Tremors kills them for free. It'll probably be Lacerate instead of Tremors, but they're both worth mentioning. Trophy Catch is a cool one. It works well with the Lacerate, and the Arnjolf turns on the Trophy Catch. So if they have a unit in a different row, you play Arnjolf and your Trophy Catch is already dealing 4 damage. And more realistically, you're going to be playing this like halfway through a round, so your Trophy Catch is very easily going to be dealing like 5 or 6 damage. Now, that doesn't work super well with a Lacerate, because 5 or 6 damage is probably just killing whatever you're moving, but it's something. Brockvar Archer, while this was very situational before, you really needed to have 3 damage units for this to be at all a reasonable card. With Arnjolf, you're immediately getting 3 damage units on the board. So if any of those stick around, if you and your opponent boost one of them out of range, you still have 2, you're getting 5 for 5, it's fine. The problem being that it's only playable in the round that you play your leader is kind of a big deal. Might not see play, but it's another consideration. It has synergy. And then obviously Pirate Captain, Bloodthirst 2. Yeah. So my first reaction to this card was that I didn't think it would be as good as Crach or Harald, but the more I think about it, the more it kind of feels like it just has the best of both worlds. You have the finisher potential of Harald, you have the Bloodthirst enabling, the reliable Bloodthirst enabling of Crach, and you have a good amount of provisions too. You're only 1 less provision than Crach is. I think likely the package that you'll end up seeing would probably be something like this. I'm not even sure on the Brockvar Archer. Not even necessarily sure on the Pirate Captain, but it's a 4, so you're probably playing it. Something like this for a Bloodthirst package, unless you're also playing Spears, in which case you can just go crazy, I guess. But yeah, that's Arnjolf. That's pretty much all I wanted to talk about. I think the card's cool. It will definitely at least be seeing some experimentation. It might even be the best Skellige leader. I wouldn't be surprised. Anyway, until next time, hope you guys enjoyed.